This time on Scott's Garage, we're going to build an enclosure for this garden statue. Hello and welcome to Scott's Garage. A few episodes back, you saw me changing the sprinklers, mixing up the sprinklers a bit, taking this one and splitting it into two, and then creating this little platform for the Virgin Mary statue. That was all part of the beginning of the project that we're going to do right now. We're starting a new project, but that was kind of what we needed to do to lay the groundwork in order to get this ready. I'm going to build a shrine or grotto. I'm not sure if that's the right word. I sort of think of grotto as like being like stone shelter or something. We're going to build like a wood enclosure, which may be called a shrine for the statue. Kind of goes up here and has a cross. And I'll show you some pictures of a bunch of different things that I was looking at, the different designs. And I think I've settled on one that I like. If it's not called a grotto or a garden shrine, please maybe let me know what the right terminology is. I Googled it a little bit, but then I kind of gave up. And so if you can put that in the description of what the proper terminology of the enclosure for a religious statue is, that would be great. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into the drafting station. We're going to draw up some plans. I passed by Home Depot earlier today and I've got some wood, and I'll show you that and how much that costs and what we're going to do with it. So we're going to draw up sort of a little enclosure house with a peaked roof and a cross on it, and it's going to sit right over here. And I even did a couple of special features that I think are going to be really fun. So let's get started and get going on this project right now. All right, so here we are at the drafting station. We're going to draw this up before we head out in the garage and start actually cutting and building and screwing and stuff like that, because you definitely want to plan things out before you start screwing. Right now, you don't want to screw around until you know what you're doing. No. Stop screwing. Get a plan together before you start screwing. That's it. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I kind of settled on this one, and I'll show you a better picture of it here. It's an enclosure, kind of like a little house, and it looks really nice. I have some plans here that go through the different steps on how to do it, and I'll kind of give you better shots of those as we go through, but you'll be able to see me making it. And I went through a bunch of different iterations of different designs that I wanted to do, and I'll show you a few of them here. Some of them were like curved, some had slats going on, some had some of that like plastic lattice that kind of goes in an X. It's like white, it's plastic and comes in sheets. You can put that on the sides, or you could put like boards on the top that go this way and that way, and I have another one like that. So a bunch of different designs that I went through, but I kind of decided on this one because I liked it the best. And so let's get started on drawing this up enough to go out in the shop and make it. So the first thing I did before I turned on the camera is I just wanted to get the footprint. So this isn't the bottom of the unit. This is just a footprint showing me the size of the unit and the bricks. And I'm going to write footprint here. You don't really have to do, a standard 3 projection view on every project. If you just need to figure out a couple sections and you just need to draw them out so you can figure out the details and the sizes of things, then just do that. If you want to do a whole drawing, that's fine. If you want to do just part of the drawing or just little sections. So I think what I'm going to do with this one, I don't know if I'm going to do a drawing of the whole enclosure. I think what I'm going to do is just do the sections that I don't have a good idea in my mind. Like I can't picture them exactly. So when that's the case, it's really good for me to sit down and draw it out. And then I can see the problems, the difficulties, what I like, what I didn't like, and I can get the dimensions and everything all set before I head out in the garage. That way I don't have to think about, what are the sizes I need to cut, how is it constructed, all those kind of things. All I have to do when I'm in the garage is concentrate on cutting the wood and putting it together in a very accurate and nice fashion. I don't have to do any design work at that time because it's all done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write footprint here, because that's what this really is. It's just the footprint. And if you can zoom in a little bit, I'll show you this snapshot right here. What it does is it shows the brick, which the brick is made of 4 bricks, but together it makes a 23.5-inch square. Then the enclosure is going to be flush with the back and 2 inches on the front and both sides. 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. So that makes the width of the enclosure 19.5 and the depth 21.5. Now, I don't know, I may make this like 4 inches or something. I may cut this back a little bit because I don't really like how this is deeper than it is wide. I don't really like that. So if I cut 2 more inches off of this, that would make it 19.5, and I think that would be a better idea. So let me fix that right now, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so this is going to set back in here. I may put it 3 inches and this like 1 inch back here, just so it's not right on the edge. But basically that makes for my enclosure to be pretty square. And that looks kind of like the way this one is. It's pretty square. So I think times 2. So times 1 for this back piece, times 2 is for these 2 pieces. So this is going to be out of pressure treated. I'm going to rip it to 1.5 inches square, because that's what my other pieces, my verticals, are going to be. They're already 1.5 inches. So the pressure treated is like a 2x4 size. So now I got to figure out the lengths of these 3 pieces. These are going to be your square pieces that go in the corners. They're going to sit on top of the pressure treated. So these are coming up from the base. And all right, so I think I just about got it done here. Enough detail for us to go out in the garage and start building something. Like I said, I don't have to do a traditional 3 projection view. I just kind of did the views that I wanted to work out in my head, kind of what the base looks like and get that going, kind of what the footprint in the garden is going to look like, and then just a front view so I can get some of these pieces start cutting. Not quite sure exactly what this is going to look like up here. Not that worried about it. Once I get the verticals in here and I start doing the surround in the front and the back, I think it'll all come together pretty good. So I just have a few of the pieces, the dimensions kind of detailed out here so I can get started. But otherwise, that's about it. You don't really need to, to figure out every single dimension. One of the changes that I made here is this has like a wooden base, and I'm not going to have a base on it. I'm just going to use the bricks. So I'll just have this surround part with no base, and it'll just sit on the bricks, and I think that'll be just fine. So another cool couple of things that I did is that I ordered from Amazon a solar powered light. And so what it does is like a string of lights, and there's like a little solar panel that you put on the roof. And then I thought on the inside in here, I would line these with, it has like 30 feet of these little LED lights. And if I just put underneath there, then at night, when the sun goes down, they'll light up and it will light the whole inside. Maybe I could, line it in here and in here, the 4 corners, and then underneath the roof to kind of light the whole thing. The other thing that I did is I wanted to get some stained glass. I thought if I had like stained glass windows in the sides, a couple of them with religious themes, those are really, really expensive. So what I did is I found like a decal, a clear decal, and then I do have some Lexan that I could cut out like as a window, put the decal on the Lexan, and then make kind of a window frame around it on each side. And I think that would look really nice at night when the light is on. and it'll kind of illuminate those stained glass panels. So I'm really looking forward to working with that. I think that's a couple of pretty cool features, and I'm excited. I think I have all the wood and ready to go, so let's go out in the garage and get started. We've moved over to the garage, but before we get started building anything or cutting any wood, let me show you a little bit about design and scale, which I think is kind of an important concept. So let's take a closer look at the drawings. And I think one of the most important things when you're designing something is trying to get the scale right. And that can be a real challenge sometimes. So what I like to do is if I can just get a few dimensions to kind of like put a stake in the ground in terms of what size this is going to be. So the first thing I did is the footprint. So I knew the size of the bricks, and I knew kind of what I wanted, how I wanted it to sit on the bricks. So what I did is I just kind of took the size of the brick and then put it down for that dimension to kind of get the base of it right. And so once I did that, the next thing to do was the height. I had this design from the internet, and it didn't have any dimensions on it at all. So this is like, yeah, I'd like to build that, but you don't know what size to make it. Plus, this statue is a much different size than mine in the backyard. However, they did mention what size the statue is. So I think they have here the statue is 21 inches high. 21 inches high, where mine in the back I think is 32 inches. So very different scales. But what I can do is I can take the height of this, which I know, I can scale it to say, okay, well, this is like 3/4 or 2/3, or come up with some fraction that I can multiply it to get the height of this. So it's like this is to this as my statue is to this. It's kind of the old equation that we learned in basic math. And so what I did is I came up with 40 inches. So that's going to leave about 8 inches above the top of the head. So it's about 32 inches. So about 8 inches to the bottom of this sill to the top of the statue's head. And that's, to me, seemed to be about right. So once I get the height of that and the size of the base, all the other dimensions just kind of come in. I know I'm going to be using 1.5" stock, so I can kind of use that. I know what the thickness is of the cedar fence boards that I bought. Those are 5/8. So you kind of start to bring in all of these different dimensions, and pretty soon the whole thing kind of lines up, and you get all the dimensions you need, and then you can begin cutting in earnest. So I think the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to start with the bottom and work up with this project. So the bottom is 3 pieces of pressure treated, which I have over here. I have these, and I'm going to rip those to 1.5" thick, and then that'll make my base pieces. Then I can put them together. So let's get started with that right now. So one of the things that I want to go over here is working with pressure treated. I see this on a lot of woodworking things, how to do it yourself type of things, and they're just cutting pressure treated without any kind of mask or anything, and the dust gets sent up in the air and it has chemicals in it and stuff like that. I don't really know whether it's a big problem or not, but I just don't think it's a good idea. So I'm going to throw on a mask and some safety glasses before I cut this. I don't even actually like touching it, but I think since my hands are pretty dry, I think it probably should be okay. I hope. Okay, but let's cut this. And then once the dust dies down, what we can do is we can take off the mask and proceed as normal. So we want one at 15 1/4. Like it. So that's 15 1/4 right on. Then we're going to rip that to 1.5". And then we need one piece at 18 1/4. So let's do this one up here. The smaller pieces would have used less material, but they just had too many knots and everything. So I kind of decided not to use them. Okay, so here we're just going to set this fence at 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to double check with my tape measure here. Make sure I'm right at, right on 1.5 inches. Because what I want to do is match the size of those 1.5 inch boards that I bought. Definitely always need one of these. Okay, here we go. So we have 1.5 inches there. I think that's pretty good. It's basically making a square piece. That was just a sample. I can double check it with my other pieces because I want them all to kind of fit together and work nicely together. This is the material that I'm going to use for my verticals, and it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and cut those. Okay, so I have my 3 pieces. This is going to be my base, and I'm done cutting the pressure treated, so I can kind of let the garage air out a bit. I have all the doors and windows open and everything, and let's let this air out a bit, and then we can take off the mask and be kind of safe. So we have our 3 pieces here. I just have to decide which I want where. So if I look at my drawing, I think okay, so these side pieces go here. It's not like this, it's like this. And so if that's the case, I should have 18 1/4, which I do here. And do I have 18 1/4 here? Yeah, right on. Okay, so there's the base for my enclosure. And now I'm starting to think of like, okay, the statue is going to go in here. I think it's 9 inches square. So that looks just about right. Okay, so let's use a little bit of exterior wood glue. Okay, and we have our base from which the entire structure will be based on. So, all right, the next step, if we look at the drawing here, is right here, 38.5, because the vertical sits on top of the pressure treated base. Right here, these 4 corners. So we need 4 at 38.5, and that'll give us our verticals all the way up to here. And then this is the piece I'm keeping, and this is my scrap. And then this is my scrap. So I'm going to line my blade up with this side. All right, so now I have 4 verticals, all at 38.5. And they're all right there. They all look the right size. So I think we're ready to go. And where those need to go is in the corners, like right about here. So what's the best way to put that on? Not sure. I'm not sure. Let me think about that.